Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to wait just a couple of seconds to allow other attendees to kind of filter into the webinar. But in the meantime, please enjoy our title slide and get yourself amped for Rachel. I'm pretty excited. Are you excited, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm excited to share.
Awesome. All right, so yeah, just give a couple more moments.
I'm happy that it's not raining today.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Honestly, over here at the campus, we've seen some pretty intense rains.
Yeah. We live in California for a reason, not for the weather. Not for this weather,
Not for this weather. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Jenna Quinn, and it is my pleasure as the Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement to welcome you all to this edition of our 49er Industry Chat series. Before we start, just a couple of quick housekeeping items. We just want to inform everyone that the session is being recorded. So mainly what that means for you is that this video will be available on demand in our video library for you to go ahead and review or send off to any friends or colleagues. And you can find that at www.csulb.edu/alumni. So now, as this is a webinar format, we encourage you all to use the Q&A function. You don't have to wait until the end. If a question pops up into your mind and you're here live today, go ahead and just throw it in the Q&A and we'll get that asked. Now I'm happy to welcome our guest speaker today, Rachelle Ramiro. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you guys?
I think everyone's doing pretty good. I hope everyone's doing pretty good. But let me just start off by reading a quick bio about Rachel, and we'll get into some questions. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So Revive and Rejuvenate Nursing Co. company was founded by Rachelle Ramiro, MSN, APRN, CPNP, FNP-C, which is so many letters. I can't wait to hear all about them after your name. Rachel is double board certified as a nurse practitioner in pediatric and family medicine. And she has over 13 years of experience as a registered nurse and over 8 years experience as a nurse practitioner. Rachel had extensive training at a Medspa in Newport Beach doing Botox, lasers, and microneedling. She also has completed several trainings with Allergan Cosmetics and Botox and filler trainings. And Rachel spent most of her career working with kids, which is what has given her gentle and experienced hands capable of starting IVs, giving shots, and doing aesthetic procedures. Thanks, Rachel, so much for being here.
Of course.
So just to start off, let's just start off with a little bit of background about you. What were your experiences like that led you to CSULB? Pretty much from start to when you were and arrived at CSULB, what brought you there?
So first of all, my mom's a nurse. And there's not a lot of nursing programs. I grew up in the Valley, and Cal State LA and CSULB were the top Cal State schools that had nursing programs. So for obvious reasons, the beach is what brought me over to Long Beach that made me want to apply. So I applied to Cal State Long Beach and I got in. It's very competitive. So I moved out here and I tried my best to get the best grades I could to get into the nursing program, and I did. And I got into the trimester program, which was one of the first years that they had it.
Wow, awesome. And when you were here at CSULB, what was your student experience like? Were you in clubs or activities? Were there any classes or professors that really stood out to you and you felt were pretty transformational? Or, what was it like being a student here at CSULB in the nursing program?
Well, I actually lived in the dorms the first 2 years, which was an awesome experience. You get to meet people from everywhere that moved out there, and they're like new to the whole program. And the campus is beautiful. So I was able to walk to like school and classes from my dorm room, and everything's really controlled. And all the like you meet, it's like kind of like a sorority. You like meet people, and everyone just bonds because you see them, you eat with them, and it's just, I had a great experience going to college here. So that was awesome. And then I got into the nursing program, and that was like a whole nother field of friends where we saw each other during classes and studied together and eat together. So I have a lot of friends that I still am really close to from Cal State Long Beach. So I love Cal State Long Beach.
Awesome. And nursing, I hear it's a pretty competitive field, a pretty competitive major. What was it like for you as a student academically? Like, I mean, any professors that really stood out to you, or what were classes like?
So the nursing program was really intense. You had to stay on top of everything, get good grades, pass, go to clinical. And so I actually hung out a lot with my nursing friends because we would study together. And again, like we would eat together. I have a roommate that's one of my best friends. We would live together, study together, go to clinical together. We'd see each other like all the time. So the professors were all very nice. I don't remember. I can't say who exactly. I don't think I speak to any of them anymore, but on social media we do. But yeah, they all taught me a lot. And I'm very thankful for everybody at the program because it led to everything that I'm doing now, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And so, when you were a student, it sounds like your mom was a nurse and you were pretty set on nursing, but the type of nursing that you do now, is that what you always saw yourself doing, or what did you think you would be doing when you were a student?
So I've actually spent most of my career, I just left Miller Children's Hospital. So Cal State Long Beach had an amazing program where the trimester program, they hired people to Long Beach Memorial right away after school. So I didn't even have to worry about finding a job. They built this program where if I signed up, I would immediately get a job at Long Beach Memorial. So I was working at Miller Children's Hospital for a long time. And then in 2013, I got my master's in pediatrics because I wanted to learn more. And so I really loved working with kids. I felt like I was going to make a difference with the youth. And, because a lot of the times when they're in the hospital, it's not their fault. It's either their parents or something that they were born with. And so going back to school, which was another hard program, right? You had to work. I was working full time, and then I was going to school and I had to do clinical work. So it was basically all that I was doing. And then in 2018, I decided I wanted to work with adults as well. My nephew got really sick and I wanted to keep my family healthy. So I was like, I need to learn about adults too, because I had forgotten everything in nursing school. And so I went back post-certificate and got my family nurse practitioner certificate. And so now I'm all about learning about preventative health. I did train in cosmetic stuff, but the real passion that I have is about wellness and preventative health and what makes you healthy, gives you more energy, what's going to keep you here longer. And my parents are older now. They're in their early 70s, and I'm 36 now, so I'm trying to keep my parents here as long as possible. So I'm always trying to research and learn about what is it that's going to keep them here longer and keep them healthy.
I mean, family is so important. So that's such a wonderful motivator to get to do what you're doing.
Yeah, so my company, the reason I named it Revive and Rejuvenate is because I wanted people to feel revived and rejuvenated from the inside out, not just cosmetic wise, not just Botox, filler, and beauty, but for them to feel good inside. So it's vitamins, amino acids, what supplements can we give you that's going to make you feel good and stay healthy? And so that's I'm more passionate about doing that because I want people to be here around long, and I want people to feel healthy, and I want people to feel good. And a lot of that is what you're putting inside your body. Like, what are you eating? Are you exercising? So I do push a lot for fitness as well. That's one of my passions too, is fitness and health and getting up and moving and eating the right things. So
awesome. I think that kind of is a good transition into my next question, which is, what is a typical day like with Revive and Rejuvenate? Like, what is your day to day as a typical bread and butter day as a business owner here?
Well, something that people don't know about business owners is that I'm working all the time. I'm always getting calls. I'm always getting messages. My phone's right here on the side and it's blowing up right now. But I get calls, and people, like, for a typical patient, they'll call me, they'll do a consult, they'll tell me what they want or what's going on, and then I go and see them. So I'm a concierge service. I have nurses that also work with me. But we make a plan, and we figure out what's going on and what they need, and we go and we see them at their home. I do see some people in Long Beach because I have a home office here, but majority of the time it's me going to see clients at their house or patients at their house.
Cool. And what would you say is like the most challenging part of being a business owner? And then also conversely, like, what is the most rewarding thing?
The most challenging, I think, is a part of me is like a people pleaser. So I want to be able to like make everybody like happy and be there for everybody all the time. And it just got me really tired because I couldn't be at 10 places at once, and I think a lot of the time people think like business owners, when you own a business, like you're rich, people, that's just like the negative, oh, they own this company, so they must be rich, but it takes a lot of work and dedication. And I think the key thing is like passion for what you do to keep wanting to keep doing it. So I guess the rewarding part, which is what like wakes me up every day and what makes me want to see more people, is when they tell me like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better, or thank you so much, like I'm so happy we met, or I feel so much more confident, or I feel better. And even like my family members, if I'm able to find out what's going on with them or catch something that a provider didn't know, it helps me like want to keep learning and to be like, just figure out what's going on and how can I help you, or what can I do to make you feel better. So that's what's the best part, I think, is making a difference in people's lives.
So, and speaking about wanting to learn and continue to learn, those, like I said in your bio, those sure are a lot of letters after your name. Can you go through them and tell us like what's the degree, what's the certification, what did it take to get all those credentials?
So I have a master's degree, that's the MSN, and then the APRN is the Advanced Practice Nurse Practitioner. And then I am board certified in pediatrics and also family medicine. So I had to study and pass boards to get those certifications under my name.
Yeah, and then there's continuing education, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like learning every day. So every time there's something new that's coming out, I like to know what's coming up, so it's a challenge, to always stay. It's actually good. Science is always happening. There's always research. There's always studies that are coming out. So like, that's what's amazing about nursing, is like, it's so big. It's so wide. You can do anything, I was doing pediatrics, and then I did aesthetics, and then I did wellness. So like for nurses, like what I would say to all the nurses out there is like, if you're ever bored in in your job, like you can always change your career to something else or change the different like areas of work. Like there's always something new to learn, and they could always move and train and learn, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice, and honestly, really appealing for anyone who wants to go into that kind of work. But we do have some questions coming in from the audience, so I want to give that some time. So the first one we have here is, did you always know you wanted to be a nurse when you were growing up? And any advice for someone who wants to pursue a nursing degree, but is finding their passion later in life?
I actually wanted to be a doctor when I was young, but then I was like, how long is school? How much is it gonna cost? So I don't know if that's the cheap side of me, but I'm like so happy that I went this route. And then what was her other question?
Any advice for someone who wants to pursue a nursing degree, but is finding their passion later in life?
I don't think it's ever too late. One of the jobs I had at Miller Children's Hospital was working with the residents, and I knew like residents that were nurses, and they were like, you know what, I want to be a doctor, and they later on decided to go back to school, and then they love it. So it all depends on what you want to do. I think nurses, like I said, nursing is big. It's it pays well if you're in the right field, because I say that because they could pay you a lot of money and you hate it every day. You want to be in somewhere where you come in and you're like, I like this. I'm like, this is good. I'm helping people. I get to do this for work. I wake up and I do my job sometimes and I'm like, I can't believe I get paid to do this,
Yeah,
So
the dream, right?
that is the dream.
So the next question is, how do you balance work and life with all those long hours? And any advice for setting boundaries with family and friends who constantly seek your medical advice? Oh, I love that one. I feel
That
like
one's really hard. Like I said, before, I was like a people pleaser. I would always want to help people and I'd give them advice, but I do not recommend giving medical advice to people because you never want to have that weight. Because a lot of the times my friends and like family would ask me questions and then I start to worry, are they okay? Like, did I give them the right advice? And I think drawing that boundary earlier on is something that I wish I would have done. But nowadays I tell my family and friends, if you're worried, go get checked out, because I don't have the hands and the eyes in person. So it's something that I kind of wish I would have done earlier, is like set those boundaries, but it's kind of too late now. Some people just keep asking me.
yeah, no, I have a friend who's a nurse, and she says like the amount of times in a month that like family or friends will just send them a picture of like some ailment is just insane.
Yeah, I've gotten calls like in the middle of the night, 10 p.m. like, hey, do you think you can like look at this rash or something? And I'm like, what? Like, am I really getting calls right now at 10? But
yeah, okay, so basically tell them early on, thanks but no thanks, keep your pictures to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next question, was entrepreneurship important to you when figuring out your career path? And how did you know when you were ready to take the leap to work for yourself fully? What was that transition, and what was that transition like? So that's a lot in one, but was entrepreneurship important to you when figuring out your career path?
So I was not even thinking about entrepreneurship when I was young. That's something that kind of happened in the past couple of years. I did never in my like 10, if you asked me 5 or even 10 years ago, if I thought I was going to be doing this, I probably would have been like, no, absolutely not. I thought that when I got my master's, I was like at the peak of my career. But then personality, I just wanted more and wanted to learn more. And the doctor that is my medical director, he's the one that was like, you should start your own thing. And what's really awesome and what I feel like people in general need to do is like surround themselves with people like that believe in them and like encourage them, or people that, any advice I could say for entrepreneurship is like meet people that know more than you, that can teach you, that you look up to, that's going to teach you about business, because I didn't learn about business in my master's. So it was more something I'm still learning to do, and it's also because of the people that I surround myself with and the people I learn from.
Yeah. And how did you know when you were ready to take that leap and go work for yourself? Because that's a pretty scary one, right?
It is. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was still working at the hospital when I was doing my business. I was doing both.
Side hustle.
Like my business was my side hustle until it became my main hustle, and then the hospital was part-time, and it was hard, it was scary, because I still had that net where I was working at the hospital 2 days a week. It was a really awesome spot because it was only 2 days. I was getting benefits, and I had vacation time. If I went on vacation or I left, I was still getting paid. So it wasn't like I wish I was brave enough to say I just did it and jumped, but I just left the hospital last year. So
yeah. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily need to be like cannonball into the pool all at once.
right. I didn't do it that way. And like ever since I was working as a nurse, I always had 2 jobs. So I might be a little bit of a workaholic, but I always had, nursing jobs is 12-hour shifts. You work 3 days a week. I'm like, what do I do for the 4 other days, So I always had 2 jobs, whether it was like a part-time job or I had a full-time and a part-time. So it's just growing, people knowing about my business and then referring me and, getting good results and people telling more people. That's how I know. I haven't even paid for any like advertising for my job. It's more people telling other people and like doing things like this. And now people will know like, oh, I should check her website out or something,
Yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely include that. Don't you worry. So, you mentioned that you only just left last year the hospital to do this full-time thing. A big question, right? The big elephant in the room for all healthcare professionals, right, is COVID. How did COVID impact your career path? Like what did COVID do for you in the field?
So COVID actually helped my business because I'm concierge, so I go to people's homes.
Mhm.
I didn't get really sick during the whole COVID time because I don't know. I want to say it's because of my supplements that I do and the IVs that I do and everything, but I stayed really healthy and I was able to take care of a lot of people. So I got tons of calls during COVID. People wanted to get testing, people wanted IVs, they were really sick. I was helping people like not have to go to the ERs or emergency rooms. People were dehydrated. It was really awesome to be able to help people. So it started during COVID and I thought it was going to be bad. The business plan had to change. I wanted to do groups, but obviously I couldn't do groups. So it was like now individual care.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, I guess a big lesson in flexibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay. And another question came in, so I'll go ahead and give them some spotlight here. Have you had any mentors that guided you along the way?
With business or nursing?
Either. How about both?
Well, I have to for sure say that my mom taught me a lot how to be a hard worker. She was a nurse. She was always working 16-hour shifts, growing up. And I was as soon my first couple of years when I started nursing, I was like, how did my mom work 16-hour shifts bedside? Like it still blows my mind that she would work like 5 days a week, 16-hour shifts and take care of 3 kids, and a husband and my grandparents. It was just, I can't believe, still that she was able to do all that. As far as business, my medical director, he started his own business and he's big now. His name is Dr. Malkin. And I have business partners that I learn from all the time. I meet a lot of people that, again, like that teach me a lot about entrepreneurship.
Awesome. And any advice for students and recent grads who'd like to find a mentor but aren't sure where to start looking?
Oh, that one's hard because I wouldn't even know where you would even look that up. I just was able to meet people because of my business. So I don't know where you would go and meet people that do that. I guess you could look at blogs and like LinkedIn, or I don't even know.
When you say that you met people through your business who were able to mentor you, like clients, or
Yes,
were they clients? Okay.
Yeah, clients. That's how I met them, because I'm always interested in meeting. Like, one of the things I liked about my job is if I'm giving an IV, for example, we're sitting there for a couple, like 30 minutes at least. So I get to know them and I say, what do you do for a living, or what do you do for work? And so then I end up finding out what they do.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. So, what kind of advice do you have for any 49ers here who are listening, who are interested in entering nursing, entering your field, but maybe aren't sure? They're kind of on the fence. Like, what advice would you give to them?
If they don't know that they want to do nursing, I would have them talk to nurses that they know, or people, like shadowing people. But I don't even know if that's allowed now post-COVID. I know before you were able to do that, which is hard, but you kind of have to, in nursing, you have to like be okay seeing all the bad, like blood, like fluids, everything, because you have to go through all of the different departments before you pass. And it's kind of like a humbling career, where you're having to help clean people's throw up, or like you're going to be changing diapers, and you have to see like people at their worst, and I think patience is a really big part of being a nurse.
Gotcha. So shadowing if you can.
Yeah, shadow if you can, or talk to nurses that my mom worked in the ED, and I knew how her life was, and I was like, I'm never working in the ED. So,
Too much for me. Gotcha. I mean, I know you and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but for everyone here, what's next for your business, for your business plan? Like, where do you want to see your business going? And, where do you see your career going from here?
So I will be hiring more nurses onto the company, because I just started another business with one of my business partners. We're going to be doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy and wellness centers. We have one right now at a private gym in Hollywood. The company is going to be called CEO O2 Health. And behind that is being in charge of your life, being the CEO of your life. And then it's the oxygen chamber. So the O2 being that you're going to be in a chamber with oxygen. So I'm going to start like not focusing, but trying to build up that business. But also we are still available to do IVs. I do have some nurses. We just hired one new one this week. So if we have any new nurses or nurses that have alum from Cal State Long Beach, they can come talk to me, email me. So I like run around too much. I want to be able to like just learn more, go to conferences, and then spread more knowledge to everybody. That's what I really want to be doing, whether it's the IVs or the peptides or the NAD, like not a lot of people even know what a hyperbaric oxygen chamber is. So I want to be able to share more information with, Cal State Long Beach or clinics or gyms or everybody. That's what I really want to do, is just talk to people and inform them of what's out there, they can do to help their family members get healthy and live a healthy life.
This might be putting you on the spot, but what is a hyperbaric oxygen chamber?
So hyperbaric oxygen chambers are really in the hospital. They're used a lot of the time. When I was in nursing school, we were sending the diabetics there for wound healing. So it's a chamber where you go and you lay down, and most of the time you sleep in there. You're breathing right now you're at 21% oxygen, but we would give you supplement oxygen at 95 to 100%. And there would be pressure. So you'd be like going down like in a submarine tank. That's how it would feel. So gases at that pressure, they liquefy. So they're able to go to places in your body where it's hard to reach, like your brain or your kidneys, or hard like wounds that aren't healing. So we're giving more oxygen so that can heal. So it's beneficial for a lot of things, like your brain healing, increases collagen, skin, your heart, your lungs. It's just overall like great, but there's not a lot of places that do it the right way. And that's why we wanted to start that, and we're starting in Hollywood, and then we're going, we'll see where it goes. I'm hoping it's going to go national, but time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely time will tell. A lot of what you've been talking about with, the concierge service and, educating folks with this new venture that you're wanting to do. It seems like there is quite a lot, or that there would be quite a lot of customer service that goes into what you do. Is that something that you're trained for, or is this something that you learn on your own, or just have fundamentally? Like, how do you prepare for this kind of customer service?
So I think my customer service comes with 13 years of nursing, or if you count being a student, 15 years. But when you're at the hospital and you're dealing with sick people, and people are stressed out, for me it was dealing with the parents because they have a sick child at the hospital. You kind of have to have some empathy and put yourself in their position and say, if that was my kid, how I would be reacting to that nurse or that medical team, And I've been on the opposite end when my nephew was sick, or my mom, needed care for certain things, and I'm really upset, or I'm this isn't how it's supposed to be, or so it's kind of you need to just practice empathy and just try to put yourself in other person's position and say how would I feel in this situation. And I think that's what helps bring some customer service, but some of my clients are kind of difficult,
Oh, for sure.
It's just, I think I want to be able to help people. So that's the only way that you're going to be able to do is you can't demand it or yell at people, when it comes to stuff like this.
We have another question that came in, might be from someone looking to take you up on that nursing thing. But what qualities are you looking for when you're hiring a nurse?
I want to be able to hire people that do take care of themselves also, in the sense they're motivated to teach people what they're learning as well. We can't really hire people that are going to be partying every weekend and not going to the gym and eating bad, and it just doesn't go with what I want people to I want people to live the lifestyle of health and fitness and longevity, and want people to take care of themselves, or be motivated to want to live a healthier lifestyle.
Gotcha. All right. And anything else, or just that?
Oh, and I mean, they need to be nice, customer service, I think, is very important, for people. they want to know like you're listening and you like you are trying to understand where they're coming from. And I think it is important. Like we want to be able to listen to people.
Gotcha. And looking back, do you have any advice that you would give to your younger self?
Like we were talking about, it was more like setting boundaries for myself and drawing lines for, even medical advice or my personal life. That's something that I feel like, not trying to always please everybody, because you're not going to please everybody, knowing that you do your best, and like that's all you can do is give your best and be nice and kind to people. I think that's something I wish I would have learned earlier on. I thought everybody needed to like me to know that I did a good job, Yeah.
So yeah, and you can do a good job even when folks may not see it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So do you have any final thoughts or observations, recommendations, or words of wisdom for any fellow 49ers who are listening in?
I would say find something, and this is what I tell my nephews and nieces now, it's like find something like you love, you're passionate about, something that you're excited about. And I think if you find something that you really like and enjoy, it's not going to feel like so much work, or it's not, you're able to do so much more because it's something that you enjoy to do. And I think that like I do not regret at all. Like there's been hard days in my career where I'm like, why did I do this, or why am I doing this? But then at the end of the day, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And so I'm really happy that, every step of my career, I'm like, I feel like I've exceeded my own expectations of myself, where I've always grown, I've always wanting to learn, and like Cal State Long Beach is definitely where it all started. So I'm very happy to be an alum from Cal State Long Beach. I tell everybody how much we love the beach,
Yeah, absolutely. So, if anyone did want to get in touch with you, they had any more questions for you, or perhaps if they're interested in partnering with your company, how might they get in touch with you?
They could email me, or they can there's a website link, contact us on reviveandrejuvenate.com. My whole thing is in there, and they can email me or call me. There's a number on there as well.
Awesome. And I think Alana did share earlier, and I'm sure she could share again, the link to your website there for folks in the chat. But yeah, just want to say thank you so much. This has been a truly wonderful chat. And I think that a lot has been learned, and I think, thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
And then for those of you who are here with us, thank you so much. Again, this will be available for you to view. We're going to go ahead and send you a copy of this recording, so that way you can send it out to your friends, family, fellow alumni, anyone who may be interested. And you can find that at www.csulb.edu/alumni. We also welcome you to follow us on social media, our handle at CSULB alumni, to make sure that you don't miss any of you don't miss the next industry chat or any of the wonderful programs that we have for you guys today, or for you guys every day, right? So thank you so much for joining us. Rachel, if you'll hang back while folks filter out. Thank you guys all so much for joining us, and I hope you have a
Bye. Thank you.